Ian, pretty brutal week of racing we just saw, highlighted by Remco Evenepoel falling off of a cliff.
Yeah, I mean, this was a really tragic incident and ostensibly what was a really beautiful Lombardia coming, on the heels of Strade Bianche and Milano San Remo, what should have been a great race. Instead of talking about the dramatics that we saw on the Muro di Sormano, the Civiglio, and then the San Fermo, we're talking about Remco Evenepoel nearly losing his life, plunging some 30 feet off of a bridge on the descent of the Col di Sormano. Michael, you know that I hate it when you're right, but 2 years ago we were at Lombardia, we rode the Civiglio, and we were riding towards the descent of the Muro di Sormano, and you were talking about coming down this descent yourself a couple days ago and how ridiculous and unsafe it was, and really how irresponsible it was for the organization to send riders down this descent. You were proven right.
Yeah, you and I actually got in a really big fight about this, and I can't believe that you're coming around. Of course, like most old school racing enthusiasts, it takes seeing somebody nearly die to change your mind. But these descents in Italy, and particularly this one, they aren't straightforward. They're so technical. They have turns that they just don't flow. And you have to really, really know the descent to be able to get down with the fastest riders. And I think what we saw in Lombardia over the weekend was ultimately predictable. You have Remco Evenepoel, who is maybe the most talented rider in the entire world of cycling right now, but he's 20 years old. He's been racing a bike for like 3 years, and he is expected to go down this descent off the Sormano with Vincenzo Nibali, who has been racing his bike many, many, many years. He is obviously an incredible climber, but he puts the nail in the coffin of his competitors on with his descending ability. He can attack over a climb, and then he can just outride anybody on a descent, and especially a descent at Lombardia where he knows the roads so well. They're practically his home roads. And you put a 20-year-old maxing himself out trying to keep up with the flying Sciarca Messina down there on a descent that is so unpredictable, so hairy, has guardrails that are going to do nothing for a bicycle rider. I thought that you agreed with me. I thought you agreed with me. What do you think?
I do, but at the same time, I do want to throw to an interview that we did with Remco Evenepoel before this race started. Our contributor on site in Lombardia asked Remco if Remco thought these technical descents, the Muro di Sormano and the Civiglio at Lombardia, would play a role in the finale like we've seen them do in the past. Let's take a look at that.
The descents are dangerous, but nobody wants to crash, so it makes no sense to take full risks in the downhill. But I think the climbs are hard enough to make enough differences.
I mean, to me, it's painful to watch this interview, obviously in light of what happened to Remco on this descent, because it does show, what we love about him is his overconfidence, his confidence in his own insane abilities, but his overconfidence in race intuition. In this case, you've got to know that Nibali is just going to send it on the Sormano, and you need to be riding. You cannot be riding that descent as fast as Vincenzo Nibali is going to be riding that descent.